a lot of your career seems to be a broadening, then a narrowing into something specific, and a broadening and a narrowing into something specific. How did you do it? How did you access the opportunities? Because so often people get pigeonholed. So what was it that you did specifically to ensure that you weren't getting pigeonholed and tied into one thing, especially as a specialist? What would you say was the keys that differentiated you from others who have stayed?
I think it was about relationships. So a lot of the opportunities that I've had have come from building solid, good relationships and maintaining them. If I think about my opportunity at VWV, for example, it was based on relationships that were developed years prior to me actually joining VWV. Going back to SARS, it's completely based on relationships. And yeah, I think building relationships is critical as just a vehicle for mobility, So yeah.
How do you sustain those relationships?
I think it has to be a conscious effort. So you can't assume that things are going to happen naturally. I tend to be quite selective about the relationships that I build with people, and there always is a personal connection. So it's not opportunistic at all. And those are the relationships. And I always feel like there are people that have pulled me through my career. And there are still people that do that. And I have good relationships with those people. Yeah. Because I care about them and they care about me. And that's the sort of thing that works for me. Yeah.
So fascinating, because Standard Bank did a research paper probably 10 years ago now with Italia Bonanelli, and looking why women weren't advancing as much in the workplace as men were. And one of the things they found is that women operate in intimacy agendas rather than on just an associate agenda. And they've just redone the assessment or the survey with their staff, and they've recognised that very little has shifted. Which in one way is interesting in itself, sad in another way.
Yes.
Because it does limit us to a certain degree.
It does.
But it also, like I so often find somebody saying, but I can't ask my friend to open that door for me because I don't want them to feel I'm taking advantage of the relationship.
Yes.
And yet for a guy, that's not even a question they ask. It's
no,
like,
absolutely.
I haven't seen the guy for 15 years.
But I'm going to call him. Exactly.
So that's quite fascinating.
And women aren't inclined to do that. Yeah, I think it's true. I think women do build more intimate relationships. But it's worked for me. I think also when you do that, you must have an end state in mind. So when I say I'm being quite selective about the relationships that I build, I mean that the people that I build relationships with, or rather professional relationships with, and I like to distinguish between the two, between professional relationships and relationships. But the professional relationships are, there is an end state in mind, and it's with people that I perceive as role models, that I learn from, that I continue to learn from. So, it's important.
It's great.
Yeah.
I like that synchronicity of the relationship, that they're gaining, I'm gaining. I respect them, I admire them, and I'm working towards something with them.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
Absolutely.